It's a me, a Mario.
That's a him, alright. We did it, guys. It's here. The Super Mario Brothers movie. Oh man, what a wild ride this was. And I'm not even talking about the movie itself yet. After the critical and financial disaster that was the original 1993 Mario movie, which scared Nintendo from making a movie based on any of their franchises for like 30 or so years, video gaming's most iconic character has finally returned for the big screen for an all-new animated adventure. The movie's about Mario and Luigi, two down-on-their-luck plumbers from Brooklyn who find themselves separated and whisked away to other worlds. Luigi finds himself in the hands of the evil Koopa warlord Bowser, and Mario in the colorful but defenseless Mushroom Kingdom. To save his brother, Mario must team up with the Mushroom Kingdom's ruler Princess Peach and the fearless adventurer Toad to go and assemble an army and take the fight to Bowser and his Koopa troop. From the day this movie was announced, it was a massive uphill battle to gain the goodwill of the Nintendo community. This film was made by Illumination Entertainment, which has garnered a pretty bad stigma over the years for creating cookie-cutter, generic films that lack substance. Longtime viewers of this channel know that I am a bit of Illumination apologist and believe that they are capable of some good things. Yeah, there's some stinkers, but I think there's some shining diamonds in the rough too, especially recently. But at the same time, I can understand people's fears. Just because I think The Grinch is absolute fire doesn't mean everyone else feels the same way. There are definitely studios who push the boundaries of what animation is capable of a lot more than Illumination, that's for sure. Then we learned the directors are the guys behind Teen Titans Go, a highly divisive animated series that people accuse of for going for cheap laughs that appeases only the youngest of kids. But they also helped create Teen Titans Go to the movies, which is actually a witty, snappy, and decent film, so there is still substance to be found. And lastly, but most importantly for a lot of people, Chris Pratt is Mario instead of longtime Mario actor Charles Martinet. Yeah, that is certainly a bummer, cause I love Charles, and Pratt is very clearly brought on board just to sell tickets, but at the same time there is still a solid cast beyond Pratt. Charlie Day is Luigi, Jack Black is Bowser, Anya Taylor-Joy is Peach, and Kevin Michael Richardson is Kamek were especially standout casting choices when they were announced. Plus, this movie was being overseen and produced by Nintendo themselves instead of mere licensing this time, with Mario creator, and arguably the Walt Disney of gaming, Shigeru Miyamoto keeping a close eye to ensure this film oozes the same iconography, tone, and playfulness as the brand he spent over 35 years building. So there are certainly things going for this movie as much as there are things going against it, which caused this big pre-release debate for years on if this movie's gonna be good or not. Now that it's out though, and we can all see it, ain't that the question of the day? Is this movie good? It's complicated. What I will say though, is that this movie is a ton of fun. It's bright, colorful, and something is always happening to keep your eyes glued to the screen. The characters are charming and they have so much expressiveness and personality that keeps you hooked. They're not anything deep, but they're who you want them to be. Mario is the determined everyman who never gives up, Luigi's the timid little brother who still has a strong heart for the people he cares about, Peach is a caring but adventurous ruler, Toad is an adventure junkie who just really wants some friends, Bowser is threatening but also incredibly goofy, and DK is a spoiled brute who just wants to make good on his legacy. A lot of it is amplified by the voice acting. Everyone gives, at the very least, a pretty decent job, but there are certainly some great standouts that inject so much life to their roles. And I'm talking about Charlie Day, Jack Black, and Keegan-Michael Key, surprisingly. With a small bit of time Key's in the movie. We'll get to that. Even Pratt, while this is not his best animated performance, no one will ever replace you, baby. I love you. He does put on a voice, adding a Brooklyn flair to how he sounds, which does pay homage to Mario's voice before Martinet took it on back in Super Mario 64. We can forget sometimes that while he has this over-the-top Italian accent now, in his earliest years they played up a much deeper voice to reference his home in America at the time. Lou Albano, Bob Hoskins, even Peter Cullen. Yeah, Optimus Prime played Mario once. So it's definitely off-putting at first, but it is something you get used to. This also has some of the best animation Illumination has to offer. Illumination knows how to make something visually appealing with a low budget, especially thanks to their fantastic lighting software. And with a movie as ambitious as this, with so many worlds, creatures, and action sequences, the film looks positively stunning. And last, but certainly not least, the references. You know the saying, by fans for the fans? This movie is the textbook definition of that phrase. You could probably open the latest edition of the Oxford Dictionary, find the word fandom, and it would just play the entirety of the Super Mario Bros. Movie. This movie has Mario references oozing from every frame, from the most mainstream imagery like pipes and fire flowers, to many deep-cut cameos and Easter eggs that only the most hardcore fans will understand. Discun's in the movie. Discun. I don't think Nintendo remembers Discun. And it's not just visual gags, but audio too. You can find iconic sound effects everywhere, from the wow of a shy guy when you see them walking around, or when Luma Lee makes the little for Mario Galaxy. Ooh, that tastes so good! And the music, oh, it's gotta be illegal to have a soundtrack this good. Brian Tyler has teamed up with legendary Mario game composer Koji Kondo to take dozens of legacy Mario songs from across his 35-year history and bring them to life with a sweeping orchestra, and it's beautiful! Almost no generation of Mario is ignored, from the good old classic hallmarks of Super Mario Bros. Or Super Mario World to even more modern titles like Mario Odyssey or Mario Kart 8. I guarantee you, one of these songs is going to catch you off guard and have you grinning from ear to ear. It kind of puts the Sonic movies to shame, honestly, since those films have like 2 game songs, and the rest is the most generic score known to man. It really goes to show this movie is made by people who adore Mario, and that passion is infectious. It's contagious. Their love for Mario will resonate with your love for Mario, and it just creates an absolutely amazing time at the theater where you are pointing at every screens every 30 seconds because something ends up tickling that nostalgia bone. Is it bordering on Rise of Skywalker levels of nostalgia banning and member berries? Oh, I think it doubled it, yeah. But it's just so validating to have gamers like us end up becoming filmmakers and show the world why we love this series so much. But with that said, this is still a review. And is this film perfect? No. This film has an incredibly simple story, and yes, that's fine. Mario stories are typically simple, and I don't need everything to be deep. You don't always order a medium-rare steak cooked to perfection with a harvest salad complete with some kind of wine aged a couple decades before the birth of your grandpa. Sometimes you order a Big Mac with a Sonic 3 Happy Meal and a Diet Coke. And they both taste good for their own reasons. Would I appreciate some depth? Sure, absolutely. The Lego Movie is elevated to one of my favorite films of all time because it is a simple movie that becomes something much more profound as it progresses. But in the end, Mario goes down easy, and I feel like I had a good meal. So no, I'm not docking points for the story being simple. What I will judge it for is the stuff that it tries to set up and accomplish itself, but falls short on, okay? I have to send this warning before the Mario fans start sending the nukes at me. Pacing is this film's biggest problem. Because it goes a mile a minute, always wanting to take you somewhere new, it never wants to slow down and let certain plot elements simmer. From Mario's relationship with Peach, DK and Cranky Kong's family drama, or even Mario's family drama. And nowhere is this issue more egregiously embodied than Toad. I feel like this little mushroom man had at least 2 scenes cut that could have given him the character dynamic he needs. He's different from the other Toads in the Mushroom Kingdom. While the others are more determined to flee at the sight of danger and stay within the confines of the villages, this Toad is always looking for something beyond the kingdom to do. Some kind of adventure to prove himself and, most importantly, friends to be with. With Toad's insistence to constantly be by Mario and Peach's side, self-proclaiming himself as Mario's best friend, I felt like we were leading to some kind of arc where Toad admits the life he lives is a lonely one, and he wants people to relate to. But as it stands, he just kind of fades into the background once the journey actually begins. As such, his relationship with Mario is never really explored, and eventually he just kind of latches to Peach. It's unfocused and brimming with missed opportunity. And speaking of mixed opportunity, this film's namesake, the Super Mario Brothers. The stuff in Brooklyn was surprisingly great because we get to spend time with Mario and Luigi as brothers, who has a fantastic dynamic. Their brotherly relationship is incredibly wholesome, with Day and Pratt having surprisingly good chemistry with one another. It's one of the film's biggest strengths. But because Luigi has to be captured in this film's rapid pacing, we lose out on that strong point for the majority of the film. And I get it. We need Mario and Peach to establish this dynamic too, something that can't be done if Peach was kidnapped from the start. It's a sacrifice I understand, but that doesn't mean I don't want to see more, and I hope a sequel expands on their relationship more for an entire runtime. A lot of ideas are introduced in this film, but never properly wrapped up, which is a shame because these are great ideas worth exploring, and hopefully they will in the future. Heck, a big plot point that Bowser has this magical superstar, but we never see him actually do anything with it. And while I praise the music, it isn't exactly flawless. There are quite a bit of licensed 80s music in this film, which is a really distracting contrast when the rest of this movie is absolutely top-notch and based on the source material. But my biggest problem isn't the fact that 80s music is used at all, but it's just that none of these songs are unique, or anything you'll associate with Mario. Each song has been used in another iconic movie before, and I wish they'd expose younger audiences to different, lesser-known tracks from the old days. We've seen Mr. Blue Sky in a film before in a great way already. We've seen Holding Out for a Hero done masterfully, and we've seen Take On Me done in a way that makes me cry. I wish Mario could do the same with other artists' songs. But in the end, all gripes aside, the Mario movie is still a ton of fun, especially for Mario fans. People unfamiliar with Mario may or may not enjoy it, but chances are it'll elicit some smiles somewhere during its runtime. Either for a clever reference or something cute and colorful that resonates with you. Or maybe it's just Jack Black absolutely killing it on the piano. And this film acts as another good step forward for the future of video game movies. And I've said before that while film is my favorite artistic medium, video games is where I believe some of the most compelling and interesting worlds and characters reside. And we now are in an age where people are realizing that, and these kids have now grown up to portray that same belief in a motion picture. It makes me happy. Very, very happy. And as such, I give the Super Mario Bros. Movie a...
Apocalyptic.
It's a simple but playful romp that never fails to make you go wahoo! And hey, if you think this review makes you go wahoo, eat a super mushroom and punch that subscribe block. Who knows? Maybe there's a coin inside. And I'll see you in the next review.